305, State Senator Dave Senjum. This is the Senate Energy and Utilities Policy and Finance Committee. A quorum is present. Our technology, I think, is intact, and we're ready to proceed. This is a hybrid meeting, and so we do have members and certainly people from the public watching in as well. So again, it's good to be here. It's about 3:06. We're a little late, but I think we're just a victim of working through our technology. So what we're going to do today is go through 4 initiatives that we enacted in last year's energy bill. 4 important initiatives, I think, and we're going to deal with the renewable natural gas, solar on schools, the what we call the ECO Act, and also what we call the Meta Act, and we'll get into exactly what they mean as we go through them. But so we're going to start out with the Renewable Natural Gas Innovation Act. And Commissioner, welcome. Commissioner Arnold, welcome to our committee. It's good to see you, and we're back at it.
Yep, great, thank you, and good afternoon, Chair Senjum and members. I'm Grace Arnold. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Commerce, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk about all of these things, the four bills that were passed last year. You all should. I'm gonna. First time in a while, so with me today is our Director of Government Affairs, John Kelly, and then I have 2 virtual phone a friends in who are the wonderful leaders and implementing much of this work in our division. Our State Energy Office Director, Michelle Grancy, and Jessica Burdett, who's our Energy Regulation and Planning Manager. Really appreciate the opportunity to provide a status update on the implementation of the 4 important bills that the Senator mentioned, which were passed by the legislature in 2021. The 4 programs we're going to go through: Natural Gas Innovation Act, we'll start there, Solar for Schools, the ECO or Energy Conservation and Optimization Act, and Minnesota Efficient Technology Accelerator. The department has roles in all of these programs, so I'll be here, but others I think are helping out on each of the other parts. So we have a few slides to go through. So we'll start with the NGIA, the Natural Gas Innovation Act. First, and this is sort of a theme you'll hear in a lot of these, there are a lot of stakeholders involved in the implementation of these laws. And so we have here a list of the stakeholders that are involved in the NGIA implementation. And I just want to really thank all the stakeholders who have participated. It makes the department's work product better. I think it makes the outcomes better, and it's a lot of really good collaboration. So we have 2 overarching issues. Next slide. That we're managing. So the first is how to calculate greenhouse gas emission impacts of eligible resources. So we want to ensure that utility plans lead to emission reductions compared to natural gas. That's a part of the law. And the other issue is how to calculate the costs and benefits of eligible resources to ensure utility plans provide net benefits and promote local economic development. Again, these are all guided by the law. So natural gas utilities can propose a variety of non-natural gas resources under the NGIA, such as renewable natural gas, hydrogen, energy efficiency, and strategic electrification. There are other eligible resources, but these are kind of the ones that have the most short-term potential benefit. To be approved by the PUC, resources proposed under the NGIA need to be less emissions intensive than traditional natural gas resources, produce a variety of benefits, and promote local economic development. Commerce is currently developing more details around these criteria through the framework process that we mentioned earlier. Cost is a key consideration to the cost benefit assessments required by the NGIA statute. Costs can vary depending on the details of the specific resource or project, and through the current docket process at the PUC, the department and other parties are working to establish frameworks that ensure that approved NGIA projects are cost effective and bring value to utility customers. Emissions reductions can vary depending on the details of any specific resource or project. The frameworks being established through the regulatory process will help determine emissions reductions for any resource proposed by gas utilities, and all resources need to produce emissions reductions compared to natural gas. So let's go to the next one. So hydrogen has the potential to play a role in reducing emissions in Minnesota's energy sector. Under the NGIA, regulated natural gas utilities can propose hydrogen as an alternative resource, and those resources will be evaluated based on whether they provide emissions reductions, bring benefits to consumers, and promote local economic development. So you're getting a bit of a theme here, right? For the implementation process, go to the next slide. Thank you. We're looking at a June 1st deadline with the PUC to establish assessment frameworks for emission reduction and cost benefits. That process is on track. And once the PUC issues the order for the framework, the regulated natural gas utilities can then file plans for consideration. So there's framework, PUC approves that, and then the plans get considered. So now I'm going to turn it to Amber Lee from CenterPoint, and she's going to take the next part of the presentation.
Ms. Lee, are you going to pick it up at this point?
Yes, thank you. Amber
Please
Lee with
introduce yourself for the committee.
CenterPoint Energy. Can you hear me okay?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I can't hear them. I
Uh,
need to get that microphone. You gotta,
yeah,
pull
please
that
pull
thing.
the microphones up. I was struggling myself. I'm just wondering if it was me.
Is that better?
yeah, thank
Much
you.
better, yes.
Amber Lee with CenterPoint Energy. Very happy to be here. Thank you. Going to talk a little bit about the work we've been doing on NGIA since it's been enacted. Very exciting time, of course. So just to reorient everyone to CenterPoint, we are the biggest natural gas provider in the state of Minnesota. We also serve 5 other states, and we do have electric service in Indiana and Houston. But we are the largest LDC in terms of miles of pipe throughout the country. And in Minnesota, we serve over 900,000 customers, over 260 communities, and we employ about 1,200 employees. So we do have a carbon policy. We hope to reduce our emissions by 20 to 30% for end use gas. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, in terms of the methane leakage upstream, we have already put in commitments, and we have joined the One Initiative for upstream reductions in emissions from the upstream pipelines. And then our energy efficiency program in terms of the end use reductions have been up and running for many years and nationally renowned. So we will continue using those to meet our emission reduction goals. And then we hope to, in the next step toward our carbon goals, ramp up more energy efficiency, which is part of NGIA, incorporate new fuels into our system, and continue to reduce carbon emissions from end uses and with those 2 prongs under the NGIA. So this is just a background, what is RNG, and this is I think one of the most broadest definitions. And it's basically gas that has been cleaned up so that it's pipeline compatible, and it has lower emissions than geologic natural gas and derived from renewable sources. Hydrogen. We do have a hydrogen pilot underway. I do have another couple slides on that. It's actually expected to go into service any day now, and it will be producing hydrogen, and it will be blended into our system directly at the river plant in Minneapolis. So we use renewable electricity from Xcel's Renewable Connect program to power the electrolysis, which breaks apart the atoms and produces the hydrogen that is then blended into our system. So this just recaps the essential prongs or parameters of the NGIA. And as Commissioner Arnold said, it creates a a format and a process for the utilities to submit innovation plans to the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. There are only certain innovative resources that can be included in an innovation plan, and they're listed there in the third bullet. And there are cost caps in place as the innovation plans are submitted, with the cost caps increasing if we can meet the cost effectiveness thresholds. Commissioner Arnold mentioned all of the stakeholders who were integral to formulating and passing this bill, and they are equally as integral to the implementation of NGIA. And we thank them just as much as Commissioner Arnold does. So for CenterPoint in particular, but because we have more than 800,000 customers, we have to include a few pilots in our first innovation plan filing, which we hope to submit later this year, but we don't want to rush it, so it could be early next year. There's a lot of work to do to get the plan itself pulled together. Nevertheless, when we do file it, it will have these 4 pilots included as part of that first innovation plan. So the first one is for medium and small size business. It's an audit so that we can help develop solutions for those size businesses to decarbonize. And then the second one there is the high heat industrial processes, and that is for very hard to electrify high heat industrial processes. And those would likely require their own dedicated hydrogen system and piping that would be compatible with full hydrogen use. The district energy one is a very interesting one. Not many utilities, gas utilities are looking into that in the country. Luckily, it's somewhat broad what we can submit in terms of a pilot for district energy, and it might be just some more research and development to get an idea of how that would work for a gas utility. And then the last one is the electric air source heat pump, which would require us to install a heat pump and then do the energy retrofit so that the house is extremely efficient. So those are the 4 pilots that would need to be included in our innovation plan. As Commissioner Arnold mentioned, right now, we are developing the NGIA frameworks that need to be developed and approved by the commission by June of this year. The first one is the life cycle assessment, the GHG accounting that Commissioner Arnold mentioned, and the second one is the cost benefit framework. Those have been submitted to the commission, and we're in a round of comments with stakeholders as to what the formats and framework should be for those 2 subject areas. This is a slide that just kind of demonstrates what it takes to get RNG onto our system. So renewable natural gas supply in Minnesota has not yet made it onto the pipelines. We're hoping to connect one as soon as third quarter of this year in our interconnection tariff. I think it's, yes, this allows us to interconnect those RNG developers. And as I said, we're working with quite a few, and we're close on maybe 2 or 3 projects to be interconnected. So that's very exciting. This is the hydrogen pilot I mentioned. We're going to be producing 7,500 square feet of hydrogen per hour. It's operated and maintained by our staff at the river there in Minneapolis. And like I said, we're hoping to begin blending that hydrogen as soon as tomorrow, literally. So very exciting. It's, as far as we know, it is the first hydrogen blending that's been done on a distribution company in the entire country. So there's a lot to be learned from just a small size pilot like this. So carbon capture is also an innovative resource that's available to us under NGIA. I think most people know what it is. Traditionally, it's been stored, the carbon that is captured. Under this definition that it's available to us under NGIA, we are allowed to recycle the carbon, and that the carbon therefore can be used to manufacture other things. For instance, soap, which is what the first pilot that we have been trying to get underway would do for us. So this is the Clean O2 carbon capture. It's from a company in Canada. It's really first of its kind in that it can fit right onto small size boilers. It does reduce emissions and it does save energy. So we have been trying to pilot this or beginning to pilot this under our existing conservation programs. And what it does, it attaches to a boiler and captures the carbon and reduces the energy use. And then the carbon is taken and turned into whatever product you can turn it into. In this case, it's pearl ash, which is used in soaps and detergents. So, and the idea is that the hotel or facility who uses this would be saving emissions and energy and then creating a byproduct, which they would then sell. That's just one more slide on the carbon capture, the Clean O2. On this one, I think it's important to say that in implementing all of the pieces under NGIA, it is brand new to all of us, which is why we need such stakeholder engagement, and also why we need to be patient and expect some bumps along the road. We have been trying to permit this particular project for quite some time now, and we've made a lot of headway, and we're hoping to get a permit from Dolly and install the first one in Minnesota, this first Clean O2 pilot in Elk River, hopefully in Q2 of this year. And I believe that gives you a slice into the work that is underway to bring the first innovation plan to the commission under NGIA. And we thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lee and Ms. Arnold. To either one on this one, as you think about just moving out into the future in terms of renewable natural gas, and obviously it's extremely important from the standpoint of natural gas, extremely important from the standpoint of heating our homes. What might you think of be a goal in terms of I don't think we're going to anytime soon replace natural gas in a pipe and with anything else. I mean, is the idea here to blend hydrogen at certain levels and is there an acceptable level that you can't exceed? Do we know that yet?
Yes, sir. Chair Sanjum, yes, thank you for the question. I think it's a very good one, and I don't think anyone has any, concrete projections. But yes, essentially beginning, definitely, we're going to be blending. So we're not going to be replacing wholesale replacement of natural gas. We're going to be blending other fuels to reduce the carbon content. One of those could be renewable natural gas, or it could be hydrogen. The hydrogen that's going to be going into the system with our first pilot is going to be a very small amount. So we're going to be beginning with less than 1% concentration of hydrogen and going up from there. And then we'll be doing testing around the effects of that hydrogen blending as it goes. And then hopefully refining cost estimates and GHG reductions as well. So, but essentially, yes, the answer is we're going to be blending for the near term for sure.
Good, thank you. And so with respect to anaerobic digesters and landfill gas and all of those other more miscellaneous sources of renewable gas, so to speak, wherever they might exist, would it be a strategy of the company or whatever company just to go out and sort of capture that as it occurs, that it's generated, and then bring it to a central place and blend it? And would you blend it along with hydrogen and everything else is, I mean, what's compatible and what's not? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yes,
And
thank
how
you.
would you collect it? You just truck it to a site a blending site?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Sanjum. Ideally, we wouldn't truck it. So, and I think all of your questions are good, and we're going to have to figure them out as we go as to what's compatible with each other. But right now, we're looking at fuels that could be injected right into the pipeline. So for instance, at a renewable natural gas development site, we would ideally work with the developer to site it close to our pipeline system, and it'll be injected directly into the pipeline and blended with other fuels. Now, there's certainly, I think, enough opportunity with the service area that we have to site them separately, right? We don't need hydrogen and RNG at the same site at the same time. We have enough space and sites that we'd be able to site them far enough away and examine the effects before we did one on top of the other.
Thank you. Anyone else, committee members? Anything else on this one? If not, we'll move into on to the next one then, and that's solar on schools. Who's going to talk about this? Commissioner, are you going to
I
start
think I
this one
am.
off? Thank you, Miss Lee.
All right, John gets the challenge of popping our slides on and off. All right. So thank you, Chair Sanjum and members. So now we'll jump into talking about the Solar for Schools program. Before I dive into the program, I want to just be clear that this is administered outside the program. The department administers is outside of Xcel territory, and then there's a
Can you
separate.
pull the microphone just a little
Yeah.
closer? That would
Sorry.
help me at least.
Okay, is that better?
Perfect. Oh, much
right.
better.
To be right next to it. So Commerce administers the program that's operated outside of Xcel territory as established under 216C.375 for those of you who are going to reach for your legislative language. So that area in general is outside the Twin Cities metro area, but there are some of the southern suburbs of the Twin Cities that are not in Xcel's territory. But if you have to kind of have something in your mind to think about the delineations, then Twin Cities and not is about as good as any. So the program received $8 million in funding and allows for schools to install up to 40 kilowatt systems to generate on-site electricity and to serve as teaching tools for students. The program was developed with public input and posted for review, and Commerce has contracted with the clean energy resource teams to support all interested schools in accessing free technology support to apply. Grants are based on the school's financial need, which is a pretty simple metric based on the adjusted net capacity divided by the adjusted pupil unit for each district. The program was launched at the beginning of the year with the first round of school readiness applications open between January 5th and January 31st. Schools that are deemed ready will have until May 31st to submit a full application. This two-part application was established to assist schools participating without an enormous time investment. So it allows us to say, oh, you maybe need to talk to your utility first, or, let's have a few more conversations and give folks access to the clean energy resource teams as a tool in between those timeframes. All applicants on the first round will be notified by February 28th of this month if they have been selected to proceed. So this is the exciting part. It's been a very popular program. We have 45 districts that applied for nearly $12 million in grant applications, 122 grant applications for $12 million across 45 districts. Sorry. So that's more than the $8 million that was allocated, which is exciting. The average school request was over $96,000. So schools with the greatest financial need are actually applying for the grants. So this chart shows the maximum allowable grant. And I want to note that colleges and universities are eligible to receive grants. And again, we'll have decisions by February 28th for the first round. So we have a website where you can track the developments on this program. So that's mn.gov/solar4 schools. And we'll continue to keep you updated on the progress for our portion of the program. So the other side of the program, I'm just going to highlight quickly, although we don't administer it. It's administered by Xcel. So it's so there's 16 million total allocated for solar for schools, 8 outside of Xcel territory, 8 inside Xcel territory. The Xcel program is an incentives program, which differs somewhat from our grant-based program and is for projects up to 1 megawatt. We have just an abbreviated update. Xcel can come talk about their program, but we did post our approval for Xcel's plans. And then the process is now in the PUC process. And you can see there the docket number. So you can go into that docket if you really want to go deep on this and look through that. One final note about Xcel. So this is the incentive chart. And then, I'll defer for any questions on that, but just so you can kind of see the comparisons. Ours are grant-based and based on incomes. And then these are incentive-based, but also for income qualified schools. Any questions? Happy to take them. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Who was it? Senator Chamberlain? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioner. Quick question. So these are obviously available to schools, public schools and state colleges, universities. Could you tell me, is there any possibility, and if so, if not, why not, would these funds not be allowed for private schools, non-public schools?
So I think we use the Department of Education kind of guidelines for what constitutes a school. I'll turn it over to Michelle Grancy to see if she has anything to add.
Yes, thank you. The statutory language actually defined public schools, and 2 different types of public schools. Private schools were not included in that statutory language, so therefore we're implementing it in accordance with the law.
Mr. Chair, so the language said public schools, and there is statutory definition of public schools. So that's correct. That's what you said.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner, can we just kind of go through these numbers a little bit? And so I'm on a page that starts with 45 school districts. Then it cuts off and I can't read it, but maybe
45 school districts applied.
Okay.
Yeah, John pulled it up. There we go.
Yeah.
122 grant applications, and then $11.8 million in total funding. And remember, this is the sort of readiness check. So we may not, well, there's not enough money to fund all of these, but we'll do an evaluation of whether the district needs a little bit more technical assistance before they can proceed. And that'll be the February 8th deadline, but certainly there's interest in the program.
Commissioner, so 45 schools applied, 122. So that means that some schools had maybe 2 or 3 applications. Is that what I'm reading?
There were 45 districts and then
Districts, I'm sorry.
122 applications.
So that to me, the individual district could have had a couple.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So let's say, you have a district that has 2 high schools and 4 middle schools and 10 elementary schools. They could have had some combination of their.
And then of those 45, is that just the non-Xcel area, or is that in?
Yep.
total?
Yeah,
Okay.
just outside of Xcel. So the Xcel program is incentive based and isn't fully through the PUC process yet.
Okay. So
But
we
so
don't,
this
we
is
don't know
just
what the
outside of
appetite
Xcel. Yeah,
in the
you'd have
Xcel
to ask them
district is. Okay.
to be able to talk about that.
I think that's, any questions, members? Any questions? Okay. If not, we can move on then to talking about the ECO Act. Pardon me. Mr. O'Grady, do you want to comment? Are you online?
Yes, Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can. I'm sorry.
No problem, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members. For the record, my name is Logan O'Grady. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Solar Energy Industries Association. For those unfamiliar with MNSIA, we are a 501c6 trade organization made up of over 140 diverse member companies who employ roughly 5,000 Minnesotans statewide. MNSIA works to move Minnesota solar forward through shaping our state's policy and regulatory landscape in a way that encourages and enables our member businesses to thrive. Our members compete in a 50-state marketplace, and our goal is to encourage as many private companies to choose Minnesota over anywhere else to do business. I want to start by thanking Senator Miller, who was the chief author of the Solar on Schools legislation last year, as well as Chair Senjum for helping pass that legislation into law, and other members of this committee, including Senator Rarick, who was a co-author. I also want to thank Commissioner Arnold and the Department of Commerce for their great work implementing this program. Once fully operational, the bipartisan Solar on Schools legislation will have positive impacts on Minnesota's economy, from creating family-sustaining jobs, reducing the utility bills of our school districts, who then pass those on to taxpayers, to introducing our students to careers in solar, one of the fastest growing job sectors in the country, as well as here in Minnesota. As you know from Commissioner Arnold's testimony, the Solar on Schools program was divided into two programs. First, the program for outside Xcel energy territory, which is funded by general fund dollars. And the second, the program for Xcel customers, which is funded by the Renewable Development Account. The program outside Xcel territory is an upfront grant to school districts to help finance solar projects. This program has been exceptionally well received. As Commissioner Arnold stated in her testimony, it is so popular that the demand far exceeds the available funding. Given the program's success, we ask that members of this committee consider increasing funding for the next year in order to reach more schools in greater Minnesota. Regarding the Xcel program, the proposal called Solar Awards for Schools will be up for approval at the Public Utilities Commission, as Commissioner Arnold mentioned. The proposal is modeled after Xcel's residential solar awards program, and rather than an upfront grant, makes a combination of grants and production-based payments to solar users in exchange for renewable energy credits for the energy produced by the solar system. Our members have expressed some concerns with this plan, and those concerns may inhibit the overall success of the Xcel program. Overall, our members would have preferred to see the Xcel program mimic the non-Xcel program and be implemented as an upfront grant to allow the greatest flexibility to schools looking to go solar. But we are committed as an industry to working on legislative proposals to address the concerns of our members within the existing program framework as it is proposed. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to testify today. I'm happy to stay around for any questions the committee members might have.
Thank you, Mr. O'Grady. Any questions for Mr. O'Grady at this point? I sense none. So again, thank you very much. Is there anyone else out there that would like to comment on the Solar in Schools initiative? Okay. If not, then we'll move to, as I was about to do a little earlier, into Senator Eric's favorite project. Now part of his legacy, the ECO Act. And so, Commissioner, you want to kick this one off again for us?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Senjum. All right, so let's dive into ECO. So the Energy Conservation Optimization Act, lovingly known as ECO, was signed into law by the governor on May 25th of last year and was developed as based on significant stakeholder involvement. And so just like all of these, I think, these are a lot of really exciting and complex laws, and the stakeholder communities coming together to pass them, but also helping through the implementation is really essential. We've been focused on working with stakeholders to develop the necessary guidance and methodologies under the ECO Act for the SIP program, and that utilities will need to deliver the innovative and cost-effective programs that are outlined in SIP. We have worked with over 80 organizations in the course of these stakeholder engagements. We've had 11 stakeholder meetings to discuss some of the technical guidance and had 13 opportunities for comment on issues involving eco-technical guidance. So really a lot of interested folks, but also a lot of really good feedback. And thank you to everyone who's helped our team in shaping the guidance that we will ultimately be putting out. So the overarching issues for the department to address under implementation are to develop methodologies to ensure that utilities implement eco-related conservation improvement program measures in a way that is accurate and consistent for all the utilities. The ECO Act modernized the Conservation Improvement Program framework and provides utilities with the opportunity to optimize energy use and delivery through the inclusion of load management programs and efficient fuel switching programs. It raises the energy savings goals for the state's electric investor-owned utilities, and it more than doubles the low-income spending requirement for all investor-owned utilities. It provides greater planning flexibility for municipal and cooperative utilities, and it includes activities to improve energy efficiency for public schools. I want to note that the provisions in the ECO Act on energy efficiency for public schools complement the Solar for Schools program. So we've got a lot of things kind of working together, which is really great. For the implementation process, we've developed a schedule for the technical guidance. You can see that here. We've got one methodology completed regarding electric vehicle charging sales to be removed from the utility's gross annual retail sales. We're on track to meeting the deadline for pre-weatherization measures and efficient fuel switching methodologies. And once the technical guidance is completed, we move to the next stages, which are noted here. The municipal and cooperative utilities that will have guidance to develop their 2023 SIP Conservation Improvement Program plans. And the investor-owned utilities will use the guidance to modify their current SIP plans.
Senator Eric, you have a question at this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. While we're on this slide, I want to catch you on the first one, the electric vehicle charging, the sales piece.
Mhm.
I know that was a kind of a point of contention for a while in December. Is this for all utilities, or is this only for the COUs and the IOUs do not get this?
Yeah, so we have, thank you, Chair Senjum and Senator Rarick. We started, so this is sort of how these processes work, right? We sort of give a proposal and then, get some comments on it. We got a lot of comments on the EV charging. So there is sort of one standard, and Jessica can kind of speak to the details of this. So there's one methodology, and then there's an alternative if there are for some of the co-ops and smaller utilities. Jessica, is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Jessica Burdett. I manage energy regulation and planning for the Department of Commerce. Chair and Senator, we, through the existing process to develop the EV sales guidelines, worked collaboratively with the municipal and cooperative utilities, as well as investor-owned utilities and other subject matter experts to understand where some of the administrative burden and differences may be, and we're able to arrive at a compromise solution, recognizing that municipal and cooperative utilities are in a kind of different place in how they're able to meet the requirements outlined in the new legislation. So through the existing process, we were able to work through some of the perceived issues at the time.
And Senator Chair Senjum and Senator Rarick, I think, this is sort of illustrates the importance of the process, right? So they're, before we finalize anything, getting a lot of input and understanding, we're all going to learn a lot through implementation. And so getting a lot of feedback is important. And I appreciate those who get creative and help us find alternatives when something isn't workable.
Any follow-up, Senator? Okay, thank you.
So I think just to finish out this slide, the municipal and cooperative utilities are going to have the guidance to develop their 2023 conservation improvement programs. And then the IOUs will use the guidance to modify their current conservation improvement program plans. And that guidance will apply for them the next triennial plan. So the IOU plans are on a triennial cycle. So and that begins again in 2024. And that's all I have for eco. Any other questions? Chair, I'm happy to
Any
stand for
questions
questions.
on eco? Senator Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and not so much a question, just kind of a follow-up in regards to, some of the things we did on eco and another bill that I'm working on. And, we've got some pretty decent support from Commerce, but we need to work on Department of Labor for the permitting process for load control receivers. It's going to be a very important piece for our utilities to be able to put new equipment out there to manage their load better. And I think we've got a pretty good proposal. So I'm hoping the agencies will work with us on that proposal and we can get that done. So we can better manage the load that's out there and the loads going forward so that this act can do some of its the work it was intended to do.
Great. Thank you so much. So if anything else on eco, questions? Okay, then we'll move on to the fourth initiative, and that's META, the Minnesota Efficiency Technology Accelerator. And Commissioner, I don't know if you're going to start this one off or not. Or...
Yep, yeah, I'll do a couple slides and then
Okay.
Jamie can do her slides and see if I can get through Minnesota Efficient Technology Accelerator very, very fast many times. So thank you, Chair. So just as a quick overview, META allows for programs that accelerate deployment and reduce cost of emerging and innovative efficient technologies. META activities may include strategic initiatives with technology manufacturers to improve the efficiency and performance of products, as well as with equipment installers and other key actors in the technology supply chain. This microphone's a little wonky. The benefits of activities expected from META include cost-effective energy savings for Minnesota utilities, bill savings for Minnesota utility customers, and enhanced employment opportunities for Minnesotans, and the avoidance of greenhouse gases. Minnesota nonprofit organizations with extensive experience implementing energy efficiency programs in Minnesota and conducting efficient technology research in the state may file a proposal. So again, I want to note the stakeholders involved in the META implementation. You can note those here. And the issues that were addressed with implementation were to develop a program that will deploy and reduce the cost of emerging and innovative efficient technologies and the approaches that will lower energy costs for Minnesotans. And again, just want to thank the stakeholders here for making this program happen. So in terms of implementation process, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. In terms of implementation process for META, the CEE submitted a notice of intent to file a proposal in July. Commerce and CE continue to work together through that process. And we've received no other applications from other organizations or notices of intent to apply. And so with that is my part of the, the implementation discussion. I'm happy to stand for questions or turn it over to Jamie.
Any questions on the commissioner's comments? Okay, if not, then Ms. Fricke, you can pick it up and move it forward.
All right.
And please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Chair Sanjum and members of the Senate Energy Committee. I'm Jamie Fitzke, Director of Legislative Affairs at the Center for Energy and Environment, or CEE. First, I'd like to thank the committee for their impressive work last session. Multiple significant pieces of energy legislation many of them mentioned here today, were signed into law and will improve the homes, businesses, and schools throughout Minnesota, create skilled jobs, and foster Minnesota-grown innovation. I appreciate the time this afternoon to discuss the Minnesota Efficient Technology Accelerator, or META for short. Though I will say thanks to Facebook, I may start referring to it as the bill formerly known as META. Rebranding jokes aside, a sincere thank you to Senator Rarick for chief authoring of this bill and for Chair Sanjum for including the bill in the committee omnibus last session. So nearly 4 years ago, my colleagues began a nationwide scope for cost-effective energy efficiency that would be additive to Minnesota's utilities' highly successful energy efficiency programs. This led CEE to market transformation and proposing this legislation last session. META legislation enables the Department of Commerce to approve the creation of an energy efficient market transformation program pending per statute that specified criteria and qualifications are met. If approved, META will be the first market transformation program in the Midwest and one of the first energy efficiency programs in Minnesota to have a statewide approach and impact. Pending program approval, market transformation will be part of investor-owned utilities, SIP or ECO program portfolios, and market transformation will complement existing utility programs by offering cost-effective energy savings through different channels. What market transformation does is identify tomorrow's innovations by looking for high potential emerging energy efficient technology, leverage market forces by understanding what consumers need to reduce barriers and to get access to that technology, and then prepare the supply chain. And this is a critical piece that I'll go into some more details in my next slide. And all of this culminates to market transformation and META's ultimate goal, putting the best energy efficient technologies into the hands of Minnesotans more quickly and at a lower cost. A key part of market transformation is ensuring the entire supply chain is equipped. This includes working directly with manufacturers to influence product design to be more efficient, but as importantly, ensure new products operate optimally in Minnesota's unique, very hot and very cold conditions. Working with suppliers and distributors to bring awareness to market potential so that they stock and make widely available the new efficient building technologies that we need. And then of course, working with contractors and trainers. This is to create product comfortability and familiarity, help engage new customer markets, and encourage installation best practices. And as the department mentioned, CEE submitted a notice of intent in July of 2021. From our filing, the department determined that CEE was qualified to enter the next stage, which is a 6-month stakeholder engagement process as required by statute. Once this concludes, it is likely later this spring, CEE will submit an official program proposal. We are in the middle of this process, but I wanted to share some of our engagement goals shown here. In particular, I'd like to highlight employing a statewide perspective that considers the needs of various stakeholders, including gas and electric utilities, urban and rural constituencies, and residential and business industrial customers. So in closing, I've said stakeholder quite often, so I'd also like to thank the electric and gas utilities, the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce, Clean Energy Economy Minnesota, customer advocates, and the Department of Commerce, all of whom have engaged in this process or influenced this legislation. Thank you, Chair Sanjum and committee members for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fitzke. Let me just ask a hypothetical. So if it is 10 years from now and you look back at META, what would you hope that META would have achieved for us?
Well, I would say like maybe a short-term goal would be to have cold climate air source heat pumps that would work in Minnesota would be an ideal goal of this. Having the supply chain ready for this. Currently, there aren't enough contractors within the state, nor are there enough suppliers that offer these equipment. But then also I would say, like, if I could dream big a little bit here, I think that we are kind of on the precipice of coming to new building envelope designs, ways that we insulate buildings, the materials that are available, We've got manufacturers here in Minnesota who manufacture windows, and they're coming up with some cutting edge technology that maybe isn't necessarily getting to the market right now, but could be. So I just look at it as like a building envelope situation. But then across the board, we can look at ways that we power and use electricity in our homes and businesses. I think there's still some revolutions in lighting that could be achieved. But I will say I'm not an engineer. I'm just someone who lives, works, and breathes buildings. And I do think there's a lot of potential for us to be more energy efficient.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up questions? Ms. Fiske? Any on the virtual world, members? Okay. Well, if not, thank you all very much. That concludes today's meeting. We'll be here Thursday. I know we have a bill before us, and I think, Commissioner, you're going to be back with us, I believe, talking about some department initiatives, I believe. So,
Yep.
So at this point, the meeting is adjourned.